You are Locked On Warriors Postcast, part of Locked On Sports San Francisco on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Yo, what's up everyone, and welcome back to the Locked On Warriors Postcast. I'm your host, Eric Triple E Engel. You may know me as the former producer for the Murph and Mac Morning Show on KMBR, or you may know me from this show. We've been doing it for a while now. And tonight, the Golden State Warriors started their post-All-Star break sprint to the finish with a dominant win over the Sacramento Kings on the road. And Steph Curry and Jimmy Butler were both bottled up in the first half, but it did not stop the Warriors from going into halftime with a 15-point lead. And it honestly probably should have even been larger than that. And this was in large part due to all of the role players stepping up in the massive points off turnover margin, a perfect start to the final stretch of the season as the Dubs win by nearly 30 and dim that beam out there in Sacramento. But we'll break it all down. But first, I want to thank all of you for watching us on the Locked On Sports San Francisco YouTube channel. If you aren't following us on there, please hit that subscribe button right now. Turn on those notifications. And thanks for also listening on the Locked On Warriors podcast feed and making us your first listen following these Dubs games. Make sure to check out the Locked On Warriors Daily Show for more in-depth coverage. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new FanDuel customers can get $150 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. And man, tonight, I hope you put that first $5 bet on Warriors money line, because the Kings going in the opposite direction of the Warriors right now, and it was on full display tonight. I mean, the Kings sending De'Aaron Fox out of there, I mean, not really what you want to be doing if you're the Kings. I mean, they added some pieces too at the deadline, but this team does not look like the same Kings team that we've seen the Warriors battle with over these last several years, where this building rivalry has kind of emerged out of these two squads. It's always been a little bit of a rivalry with the proximity, but it's not much of a rivalry if both teams aren't good. And recently, the Kings making the playoffs, things like that, it has been a fun, intense rivalry. And I think that you kind of got the vibe of that right from the jump in this one. Steph, right away in that first quarter, Steph setting the tone on defense. I mean, this is who this team is now with the addition of Jimmy Butler. This whole team is focused on defense, evident by the turnover margin and points off turnovers. We'll get to that a little bit later on. But Steph setting that tone defensively in that first quarter after he gets all up in Keegan Murray's grill and rips the ball away from him, takes it down court, finds Draymond with a no-look pass after basically being triple-teamed, and you just let out this primordial roar afterwards. You could tell he was absolutely juiced to be out there playing at Sac with all those annoying cowbells, man. I don't know about you guys, but I have a strong disdain for the Kings cowbells. Maybe it's because when I was playing sports in my youth, I grew up in the North Bay area, and a lot of the teams that we would play from like the more rural areas, all their fans would have cowbells. So I personally hate the cowbell from my own experience. And now I get to just have painful flashbacks every single time that the Warriors go to Sacramento and I hear that annoying cowbell that just drives me up the wall. And I mean, you could see all the fans like courtside jumping up and down, swinging their cowbells. Oh my God. Yeah, just the most annoying thing in the world. It's almost as annoying as the Thunder Sticks from the Angels World Series. Those still have the edge just because of how that played out if you're a Giants fan, but I digress. The Warriors tonight, it was a very, very dominant win. Everybody on this team played well, even Buddy Hield, man. Buddy Hield led the Warriors tonight in scoring. He and Moses Moody did with 22 points apiece. And, man, they were excellent tonight. Moses Moody starting the game at the 4. Very, very strange lineup for Steve Kerr. But, hey, it's kind of harkens back to what the Warriors used to do. They would play small, and they would still somehow be able to stop you on defense. They'd beat you up and down the court, and there was nothing you could really do about it. And I mean, the positionless basketball that the Warriors play right now, where everybody just kind of has their role that they slide into, and they do it perfectly. I mean, and just the way that Jimmy Butler and Draymond are continuing to grow, playing alongside each other defensively, is absolutely a marvel to watch in real time. I mean, Draymond over the All-Star break put out one of his podcasts, and he talked directly about the IQ of Jimmy Butler on the defensive side of the ball and how much of a pleasure it is to play alongside someone like that. And Draymond's had other phenomenal, like top-tier cerebral defenders that he's played alongside of. Andrew Bogut would qualify, in my opinion. Andre Iguodala, of course, in that conversation as well. And Draymond basically saying that Jimmy is in that same tier of just elite defender. And Jimmy and Draymond were kind of bouncing some things off of each other over the break that Draymond explained on his podcast, where Jimmy was kind of telling Draymond, like, hey, if you force a guy to do this, I can make him do that. And kind of just telling him like how to scheme up things. And that's like super high level, complex defensive basketball. It's so much more than just, here's how you stop this guy, kind of know him a little bit from playing in Miami or something like that. He is telling you how to put another guy in position so that he can come in and disrupt what they're doing on offense. And that is absolutely elite defense on like cerebral level defense on the basketball floor. The Warriors tonight showed you exactly the benefits of that tonight. I mean, look at the turnovers, the points off turnovers. The Kings had double the turnovers the Warriors did. 24 turnovers for the Kings, 12 for the Warriors. Something that they've dramatically improved on kind of quietly this year. They're not giving the ball away nearly as much. And I mean, tonight, not just the turnovers, though, they're capitalizing on the points off of the turnovers. The Warriors tonight, 38 points off of turnovers to the Kings 5. They outscored them by 33 in this category. And hey, you win by basically 30 tonight. That was the major difference. You look across the board, they were pretty even in a lot of other things, rebounds and points in the paint and fast break points. Those were all pretty close, but fouls, free throws, all those things pretty close. The Warriors absolutely dominated the turnover differential, and that was the big reason why they won in this one. It also didn't hurt that the Warriors shot 46% from three-point range. They dropped in 20 from beyond the arc, shot 53% from the field tonight, made 50 shots, and assisted on 40 of those 50 shots. I mean, this was an offensive clinic tonight. And as I said in the beginning, Steph and Jimmy were not the primary scorers. Steph had 20, which is great, but Jimmy had 17 as well. 4 different Warriors score 20-plus points. 5 different Warriors score 17 or more, including Jimmy. I mean, Moses Moody, Brandon Podziemski, and Buddy Hield. The other 3 who were 20-plus points tonight, monster games from every single one of them. Brandon Podziemski continues to thoroughly impress me. We'll dive into each and every one of these guys tonight because I feel like we absolutely have to. But Brandon Podziemski, 21 points again tonight, a plus 21 plus minus. And I mean, this guy, he had 5 assists. He had a couple rebounds as well. And I mean, he makes some of the craziest shots. Like he's talked about how he's kind of like he thinks of himself as kind of like a trick shot artist. He guarantees he would beat Steph Curry in a game of horse, which is pretty funny. I would actually really like to see that. But they have like a half-court pregame shooting competition that throughout the season where Brandon Podziemski has actually made more half-court shots in pregame than Steph has this season, which is bonkers to even think about. But Brandon Podziemski tonight, he got kind of trapped on the baseline, almost behind the backboard. And you saw Sabonis kind of waiting for him to try and drive. And he had the defender out there on him. And Pods just goes up and just drops in this high arcing mid-range jumper almost over the back of the backboard just splashed it in with, I mean, nothing but net. And just absolutely impressive basketball by this guy. I continue to see him go off the wrong foot when he's quick shotting people on drives. And I mean, I cannot get the Tony Parker comparison out of my head. The way that this guy just flies into the paint with reckless abandon and the way that he gives up his body and draws all these charges, he is so Tony Parker-esque. I mean, he's not as fast as the Frenchman was in his prime, but hey, Brandon Podziemski doing all the little things that you want to see him do, scoring inside, working the ball outside, just making smart plays with the basketball, and it translated to a Warriors win tonight. We also got to talk about all of the other role players tonight because every single one of them played a big role in this one. We even saw a Kevin Knox field goal at the end. He had 5 points. He had 2 field goals actually at the end there in those last 3 minutes. How insane is that? But just all night tonight, man, it was everybody doing everything. And I mean, before we move on to Moses Moody and Buddy Hield, I also want to give a little bit of shine to Quentin Post. I mean, this guy hit 3 of 3 in that first half. It scored 9 quick points, and it was great for the Warriors to be able to have that because it helped them in that moment kind of extend that lead, kind of preserve it. And I mean, they asked him at halftime, like, dude, what's going on with this shot? Like, this has been an incredible run for you. And he basically said, yeah, my dad's here watching my first NBA game, and I'm just playing for dad. You know what I mean? And like on the road trip that they had just before the All-Star break, he had his girlfriend on that road trip with him, and he played really well in front of her. And I don't remember if it was Bob Fitzgerald or Glenn Osbuki that said it, but I think it was Fitz, told him, we just got to bring a member of the Post family of the Quentin Post clan out to every single game for the rest of the season. And he just kind of said, okay, thank you, goodbye. Took off the headphones and walked away. It was pretty funny moment there at halftime. But man, Quentin Post, the Dutch master, just raining in threes. He has been so solid for the Warriors. At 5 boards for him tonight. He only played 14 minutes. He had 9 points, 5 boards, and a plus 19 plus minus for Quentin Post. I'll take that any day of the week. The Warriors, a total domination tonight, win by nearly 30. You have 5 guys score 17 or more, and you absolutely blow the Kings out in the turnover differential. Let's talk more about some of these role players on the other side. We got to give some love to a guy that I have given a lot of criticism to through this season, and that is Buddy Hield. New hairdo, Buddy Hield. Took all the cornrows out. Looked kind of just floppy out there. That's the word I would use to describe his hair tonight, floppy. So we'll break down Buddy Hield's game and his hair a little bit on the other side of the Locked On Warriors postcast. Today's show is brought to you by DoorDash. NBA fans, get ready. They swoosh, you save. Thanks to Dash Pass, every time a player drops 50 or more points in a game, you score a huge deal the next day. It's simple. When any player scores 50 or more in a game during the 2024-2025 NBA regular season, Dash Pass members get 50% off an order, up to $10 off the next day from noon to midnight. You can take advantage of this deal in a few different ways. You can maybe order a game day feast if the Dubs have a back-to-back after an epic 50-point performance. Celebrate by ordering wings, pizza, or burgers from your favorite spot delivered right to your door. What's better than that? Maybe you got some late night cravings. I know if you're like me, maybe you're a 420ist yourself, you get some late night cravings sometimes. You know how it goes. And whether you're staying up watching the highlights or you just need a midnight snack while you're sitting there playing PS5 or whatever you're doing, use Dash Pass to grab something delicious while saving big. Or maybe you got a watch party going on planning. If you're planning to catch the next game, which of course you are, why would you miss a Warriors game now that Jimmy Butler is on the squad? You just order your go-to snacks and meals at a discount and get ready for some more high-scoring action. Sign up for Dash Pass and be ready to save. When any player scores 50 or more in a game, Dash Pass members get 50% off on an order the next day, up to $10 off. Just use promo code NBA50 from noon to midnight after a 50-point game on eligible orders at participating merchants. Must have an active Dash Pass account. Terms apply. Visit DoorDash to learn more. Welcome back to the Locked On Warriors postcast. I'm your host, Eric Triple E England. Tonight, the Warriors dominate the Kings. They dim that beam and they win 132-106. Their first win over a team from California this season, which, man, oh man, that I guarantee right now that's gonna come back to hurt them in tiebreakers later on. I'm looking at the Clippers in the 6th seed, and that is a big deal. By the way, with the win, the Warriors now secure the 9th seed. They're slowly climbing up those standings, and they are only 1 game in the loss column behind Minnesota in the 7th seed. So only one game separates 7, 8, and 9 right now. The Kings fall to 28 and 28, so the Warriors 1 game above the Kings, who are now 10th. The Suns in 11th, as Bob Fitzgerald likes to point out on the broadcast, they're out of the graphic now. So the Warriors, big win tonight, important game to win. You also got a big one coming up next with the Mavs coming back to town. Got to win that game. Absolutely must-win game. They're pretty much all must-wins down the stretch. But tonight, big reason why the Warriors won. I'm looking at the chat, and I'm seeing some love. Let's go, Buddy. From my guy, Freno. And Buddy, man, he was awesome tonight. Buddy Hield leads the team in scoring with Moses Moody, 22 points apiece for both of them. And Buddy, he's been really inefficient lately, but tonight he was not. 5 of 8 from three-point land, 8 of 11 from the field. And I loved what I saw from Buddy tonight. Primarily, the thing I love the most, 0 turnovers. That is, I mean, if Buddy could do this every night, I would be just so ecstatic. This looked like the Buddy Hield from the first 13 games of the season, Buddy Hield, where he was actually taking good shots and he was making them. He was getting a lot of open looks tonight. You have that much pressure on Steph and that much pressure on Jimmy Butler, which the Kings very clearly were trying to limit Curry and Butler's shot attempts. Gave Buddy the green light, basically, and he was wide open a lot tonight. And maybe it was him taking out the cornrows. Maybe he just needed to like relax the skull a little bit. You know what I mean? Let the hair down. And as soon as he did that, he started to find the stroke again from deep. And, you know, we said in our last show, it's been over a week since our last show. I thought that Buddy Hield after the 3-point contest, if he played well in that 3-point contest, maybe it would spark something. Just he's a shooter. Seeing the ball go in the net, it does things for those guys' brains, right? And so Buddy Hield, after coming in second place in the 3-point shooting competition, which I didn't even think he should have been a part of this season, maybe it did something for him, man, because 5 of 8 from 3 is no joke. Like, this guy was so good for the Warriors from 3-point land. So was Moses Moody, who also went 5 of 8 from 3 tonight and also went 8 of 11 from the field. These guys had nearly identical stat lines offensively. But the one complaint I had on Buddy Hield was just at halftime, right as I think we had 9 seconds left in that first half, and DeMar DeRozan goes up for a 3, and Buddy gets caught reaching as he went up for the shot and can't foul there. 3 free throws shrunk the Warriors' lead to 15 going in at halftime, but he more than made up for it with his play tonight. And man, it just completely changes when Buddy Hield is on shooting like this. Completely changes the complex of this offense, the way it's made up and everything. Just complete. I mean, just something so different than what we've seen this year. I'm like struggling to come up with words because it is so incredibly different from what we saw the Warriors doing. This feels like the Warriors of old, the strength in numbers Warriors, where, I mean, there's so much focus on the stars that everybody else can just get it going. And that's exactly what Buddy did. And Moses Moody and Brandon Podziemski, all of them did it tonight. And it was so cathartic, release, rewarding for Buddy. And I mean, I just cannot believe that he played this well coming out of the break. Like, I did not expect Buddy Hield to be the guy turning the corner in the second half of the season for the Warriors. But this, if he can play like this down the stretch, if Brandon Podziemski can keep up this play, which I think he can because he has been playing at this level since he came back from injury, I absolutely think that these two guys can help lift the Warriors, dare I say, into that 6th seed. They are not too far behind the Clippers. You got to start winning some games. You for sure got to start winning some games, and you are going to be down bad in the tiebreaker category. But there's hope, man. Even Chris Mullin, I heard Chris Mullin say that this gives him, that this team post Jimmy Butler trade is giving him 2022 vibes. Me too, man. I mean, I don't want to sit there and claim that, you know, I'm not going to go as far as Draymond did and just say the Warriors are going to win the championship, which was one of the many things to come out of the All-Star weekend here in San Francisco, which, by the way, if you missed out, what just a scene down there at Chase Center. I mean, the NBA on TNT setup right there. I got to see Vince Carter and Draymond Green just standing there right in person. Anytime you can see a legend like Vince Carter out there in the wild, that's amazing. But the open of a Splash down the sports bar down there at Thrive City looks amazing. They had a line that was like 3 miles long during All-Star weekend, so we'll have to check that out another time. But man, it was a vibe down there. I did not go to the game itself, but just an absolute celebration for all of San Francisco and for Stephen Wardell Curry, who won his 2nd All-Star Game MVP of his career. And the whole weekend, I mean, it wasn't all about Steph, but let's be real, it was all about Steph. You know what I mean? I mean, it was the All-Star Game at Chase Center. It couldn't have been better for Stephen Curry. And hey, I actually did kind of like the new format. I didn't like all the ads, but I thought the actual basketball that was played was better. We'll see if the NBA can improve on this next year. But overall, I thought it was kind of a fun All-Star weekend. It was such a scene down there. It's the best word I can use to describe it. It was just a vibe down there at Thrive City. I digress. But tonight, the Warriors, Steph Curry did not play up to his total peak of his powers, but he still scored 20. He had 6 assists, and he had that amazing tone-setting play in that first quarter, ripping the ball away from Keegan Murray and finding Draymond Green after he got like double, maybe triple team, double teamed with more help on the way. Finds Draymond Green. But man, tonight, it was all the role players as we've been talking about. Just Buddy Hield, Moses Moody, Brandon Podziemski. I cannot emphasize enough how much those 3 really contributed to this win tonight. Everyone else really did pitch in stuff too. I mean, Kevon Looney always plays his behind off out there. He had a couple steals, 5 boards, 2 offensive rebounds. He only had 2 points, but those 2 points were some pretty fun 2 points. I mean, I don't know how many of you caught this Jimmy Butler assist. I mean, we've talked on the show pretty extensively about how I've been really surprised. I mean, I know Jimmy Butler is a future Hall of Fame level basketball player, but I admit I had a blind spot to how this guy is just a magician with the assists. I mean, this guy drives the lane, the help, Kevon Looney's defender, Valanciunas, slides over for the help. And so Jimmy's now getting doubled as he's driving in. He jumps in the air, splits the defenders in the air, wraps his arms in between them, and drops the ball off behind Valanciunas, kind of like reaches around him and just drops it off for Kevon Looney. And I swear to God, I have no idea how in the hell Jimmy Butler even saw him there. I mean, he's got to have like ESP, you know what I mean? Like he and Kevon Looney communicating telepathically to get that assist, because I don't know how you just see through people's bodies. He's got X-ray vision now. Jimmy Butler just Superman out there on the court or something. Like I don't even know how you see around a man that big. Like Valanciunas is a unit, and Jimmy Butler just like, oh, here you go, Kevon. It's like basically handed off to him right in the lane, and just an easy 2 points for the Warriors. I am floored by the chemistry of this team, and it's all of these things, like all of the attention on Jimmy Butler and Steph Curry that open up all of these other options for the Warriors. And every single player tonight made the most out of their minutes and capitalized on it. Like we said, even Kevin Knox played 3 minutes, scored 5 points. This guy was a former, top 10 draft pick by the Knicks, and he's been toiling in the G League for a while, and he's been lighting it up in Santa Cruz. The Warriors gave him a shot, and hey, look, this might earn him some more playing time going forward, because he kind of showed you something there at the end. He made a 3. He had an offensive board. It was only 5 minutes, or only 3 minutes, but he played pretty well in those 3 minutes, man. Something to watch going forward. But point being, every single person on this team contributed to this win tonight, and that is how this Warriors team has had success in the past. The strength in numbers and leaning on your stars. And that, Moses Moody and Buddy Hield carrying the scoring load is not what I expected tonight, but hey, it was great to see. And we got a little bit more to talk about, because we have not discussed Moses Moody nearly enough tonight. Moses Moody, we got to give him some praise, coming up next on the Locked On Warriors postcast. Today's show is sponsored by FanDuel. When the game tips off, the NBA action is just getting started, and there's no better place to get in on it than FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. With FanDuel, you can place live bets throughout the game, so even if you miss the opening tip-off or want to bet on a fourth quarter comeback, you can stay in the action. I just wanted to bet on the Kings for a fourth quarter comeback tonight, and if you're looking for a bigger payout, you can even combine your live bets into a same-game parlay. I love using FanDuel's live betting feature because it keeps every moment of the game exciting. Whether I'm backing my team for a late game rally or picking a player to hit a clutch 3, I never feel like I missed my chance. Plus, the app is easy to use, and when you win, you get paid instantly. Right now, new FanDuel customers can get $150 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. Just visit FanDuel.com to join today. That's FanDuel.com for your shot at $150 in bonus bets. Make every moment more with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Welcome back to the Locked On Warriors postcast. Tonight, the Warriors dominate the Kings. They extinguish that beam. They snuff the beam. They dim the beam. 132-106 out there in Sacramento, and put the Kings back in their little brother role, because that's who the Kings are, man. They are the little brothers to the Warriors. They always have been. They always will be. And tonight, balance was restored in the universe. And it wasn't just, as we've been saying all night long, it wasn't just Steph, wasn't just Jimmy, it was the whole squad. And Moses Moody, he's the last of the Warriors' big 3 that isn't the big 3. You know what I mean? Like, the big 3 is Steph, Draymond, and Jimmy. But the Warriors' big 3 tonight was Brandon Podziemski, Buddy Hield, and Moses Moody. And we've given some shine to Pods and Buddy already. We got to give some to Moses as well. Dude was on fire. As we said earlier, he had the same slash line as Buddy as far as shooting goes, 8 of 11 from the field, 5 of 8 from three-point land. And he started the game at the 4. That was very, very strange to see. This starting lineup basically featured 3 guards and 2 small forwards. It was Steph Curry, Moses Moody, Brandon Podziemski, Jimmy Butler, and Draymond Green all out there at the same time, playing positionless basketball. And it looked beautiful, man. Like, this looked like the Warriors of old. The way the ball was hopping around with this starting 5 was beautiful to watch. And we need to, on a later show, do a very deep dive into how Jimmy Butler has seamlessly assimilated into this offense. And it is just so impressive because we watched Dennis Schroeder, who is, I mean, he's not a Jimmy Butler level player, but he's no slouch in the NBA. He's had some nice moments in his career. He was completely unable to assimilate to this offense. So it's not just as simple as you go play with Steph and you're going to, be better. But the way that Jimmy has just completely just folded into this seamlessly is so impressive. But a topic for another day. Tonight, Moses Moody, so good, man. There was a shot I think it was in the second quarter, where Moses Moody puts one up and points. As soon as the shot went up, he pointed at the ref and he started calling for the foul because he got fouled on the shot. And as he's pointing at the ref and looking at him, that ball goes in the net. I mean, Moses Moody did a Steph Curry right there. And if you are that hot, if you have that level of confidence, keep shooting, buddy. Moses Moody, since he has started to get increased minutes, which we have all clamored for as fans of Dub Nation. I know I have been on the Moses Moody bandwagon for a while, and I know so many of you have been as well too. Everybody, it seems like I go on any form of social media and I just constantly see all these posts about, why is Moses Moody not starting? Why are they starting everybody on the roster over Moses Moody? This guy scored in double digits in 15 or 16 of his last 17 or 18 games. This guy has been so good. Offensively, he has been so consistent, and he never makes a bad decision with the basketball. He might make a bad play every now and then, but it's not because of a bad choice. He doesn't make mental errors out there. He's not, committing tons and tons of turnovers. He had one tonight, but he's usually so consistent, and he's so versatile on the defensive end. As we stated, he started at the 4 tonight. Moses Moody can guard, basically 1 through 5 in today's NBA, unless you got Zach Edey out there at center. And you have so many other guys on this team that are willing to take on that same challenge. GP2, Draymond, Jimmy Butler, Moses Moody, all of these guys are 100% ready, willing, and able to guard anybody across from them. And it creates such a strong defensive unit. You saw them go to the zone there a little bit in the second half, and immediately they forced 3 turnovers before the Kings even got a shot off. That was, and they forced multiple 24-second violations tonight. This is a very, very good defensive team. Holding the Kings to 106 points. This is a team that likes to run, likes to get up and down, likes to shoot a bunch of threes. And you did a great job limiting their offense. And it's so remarkable to see guys like Moses Moody, who have been in the organization for a while, but are still very young, starting to finally come around. Obviously, we've all believed in him for a while, and the increase in playing time, he's taken it and run. And I really hope that he continues to start. I really hope that Steve Kerr continues to reward this guy, because he deserves it, man. He has done the dirty work, the grunt work on this team for so long, been in and out of rotations for his entire career. His playing time has been so inconsistent, and he's just like Kevon Looney. You don't got to get ready if you stay ready, and those two guys stay ready, man. And Moses Moody tonight, as I said, tied for the team lead with 22 points, a plus 16 plus minus. He was so solid. 4 assists also from Moody tonight. Felt like everybody on the Warriors was getting in on those assists. As I said, they had 40 of them tonight. That ball was just hopping around. Also, I want to briefly mention, as we're getting up against it here, the Warriors did not miss a free throw tonight. 12 of 12 from the line. Only 12 free throws, kind of insane. But that's what you get with Steph Curry, just the worst whistle of any superstar player ever in the world for any sport. But tonight, man, 12 of 12 from the free throw line, 12 free throws isn't anything to write home about. But the fact that this team has, now has had 2 games where they've made every single free throw post Jimmy Butler acquisition. This was a team that was shooting 60-something% from the line earlier this season. This is a huge, dramatic change for this team. And the fact that they can hit their free throws, and they've stopped turning the ball over. Again, 12 turnovers tonight, yet you force 24 of them from the Kings, or 21 of them from the Kings, and you score, you outscore them by 30 plus in points off turnovers. This is the hallmark of this team, or what it needs to be going forward. This is their identity. They're a defensive team that can get out in transition and run you off the court. And that's exactly who they were tonight. They did it from the inside out. Yes, they made 23 pointers, but they weren't just going out there and jacking up threes. That wasn't the game plan was just let Steph run around out there and shoot whatever shot he wants. Steph was deferring for the majority of this game. As we said at halftime, Steph and Jimmy both single figures, single digit scoring. The Warriors had a 15-point lead. Everybody contributed to this win. All around team effort, total domination, 132 to 106 up there in Sacramento, despite all those damn cowbells that just make me want to pull all my hair out of my head. And, with Buddy Hield with the floppy hair running around. I saw someone in the comments earlier say that it was very similar to what Pods looks like with his hair let down. And hey, look, my guy Danny Dunn in the chat from my former coworker from KMBR saying we need more Kevin Knox. Danny, after the way he ended this game tonight, I would love to see some more Kevin Knox. Maybe not, extended minutes, but more than 3 in their next game. Give him a little bit of a chance. Former top 10 overall draft pick by the New York Knicks. Dude's clearly got talent. He dropped in at 3 tonight, scored 5 quick points in just like 2 minutes of play at the end, 3 minutes of play at the end there. And it was just a perfect cherry on top of this game. The Warriors finding yet another piece maybe to add to this puzzle to grow the strength in numbers. Man, oh man, this is a very good start to the home stretch of this season where the Warriors are going to need to win damn near every single game if they want to hope to get into that 6th spot. They got a little bit of wiggle room, can lose a few, but not really that many. You're probably going to need to win at least 20 of these remaining games. If you're hoping to get to the 6th seed, that would put them at 49 wins. I think that would get them there. We will see. That's a long way to go. It's a lot of work to do. I think that leaves room for the Warriors to lose 6 games, 7 games for the rest of the year. We will see how that goes. But man, I really do believe that this team is a threat at this point. It's impossible to say otherwise. With the way that they are playing, they look entirely different with Jimmy Butler. This isn't just a team that's hot. You had a whole week off, and they came back and they dominated just the same as they were before. Jimmy Butler has transformed this team. They look amazing right now, and I am so excited to see how this Warriors season finishes out. It's all the time that we got for you guys today on the Locked On Warriors postcast. What a fun game. What a fun show. This was just, it feels like an extension of the All-Star break. You know what I mean? It was just a celebration for Steph Curry and the Warriors, and felt like an extended celebration tonight, So great win for the Warriors. Great game for the role players. Moses Moody, Brandon Pajemski, and Buddy Hield combined for over 60 points to carry the Warriors to this win when Steph and Jimmy were kind of bottled up tonight, and it was so pretty to watch. 40 assists on 50 made baskets. The Warriors shot the lights out. Everything went well tonight. Let's hope they can replicate this against the Mavs. As we talked about strength in numbers earlier, Andre Iguodala, his jersey is being retired in the Warriors' next game against the Mavericks coming up this weekend. And man, oh man, is that going to be a fun time. Sunday versus the Mavericks at Chase Center. The game will be on ABC. Don't miss it. All the 2015 team is in town for the reunion that's next week. But you can assume a few of those guys are also going to be there for Andre Iguodala's jersey retirement. And strength in numbers, man. It's this Warriors team, this squad can learn something from that one. Let's hope that there's some crossovers happening, some teaching happening. I'm excited, man. I'm very, very, very excited for where this is going to go. That's all the time that we got for you guys today. I'm your host, Eric Triple E. Engel. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next time. Peace.